everyone with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start with our council activity reports. Tarek is out of the country. Megan couldn't make it tonight. She's on family event. I don't have any committee meetings or anything to report. I did have a personal luncheon last week, though, with the woman who was just hired to be the CEO of the Minnesota Black Chamber of Commerce. And she and I spat around a couple of ideas for bringing in some development and resources out here. So once she gets settled in, I'm hoping to work with her more closely. But Neil?
I had a couple meetings, the policy and procedure. We interviewed 6 people for Ron's Public Works Director job, and we narrowed that to 3. And then you were at that meeting, Sean. Had a council meeting where we interviewed the final 3 and narrowed it to one selection we're working on.
And I think I speak for the council, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but we are very blessed with the candidates that we got.
Oh, yeah.
Losing Ron is no small thing, but I think it's going to be made a lot easier with the caliber of people that we interviewed. So any one of those 3 would be good.
Qualified and licensed, ready to go.
Yep. All right, anything else? Nope. Okay, Gene.
I had those same meetings with Neil.
All right, it's
Do we
getting
have a liquor board in there somewhere?
A while back, yeah.
Yeah, okay, can't remember when.
your wine club, maybe.
No, I didn't go.
Paul.
Joint planning with the township on Wednesday morning, and then right after that, with the meeting at the Public Works for Ron's replacement.
All right, department head reports. Ron.
Okay, thank you. First of all, winter parking regulations, I'd like to remind all the residents they are in effect, and if there is a snow, obviously will be towed. Also like to remind everyone to, if you do have a sidewalk, you are responsible for it, and so please clean it. Ice rink is open. It has been flooded up at the township, so that is going as ill. Since we have the snowfall, the sledding hill is open also. I'd like to remind residents they do need to park on Burr Street, not in the golf course maintenance shop there. Couple of things we're still working on, the trail grant for Phase 9, that is finally starting to take shape here. Chloride grant, remember that is, we will be working with the residents to upgrade their water softeners once we get that in full. And also the airport, the Bills Fund grant. We do have a lot of projects out there, and there will be a lot going on next year. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Any questions for Ron? Anybody here for our public forum? All right, I see Mike's real quick to keep sitting. All right, with that, all in favor of approving the consent agenda indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We didn't get a motion or a second on it.
Do we need a motion, Bill? Oh, see, I'm glad you're here.
There's no way we could do it.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? It includes, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Motion by Hersberg to approve the consent agenda. That includes the minutes on page 1, vouchers on our update, page 1, $249,643.99, tobacco licenses, gambling permit, and some invoices. I've got a motion by Hersberg. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Soini. Now I'll call the question. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Carries. All right. We had a request that Reed get bumped up to the top so that he can get out of here, because I don't know why, Reed, you don't want to spend time with me.
Sarah's here.
I know, it's just
Yeah.
one of those things, I'm sorry.
All right. If my daughter were here too. So we will we'll bump that up. Reed, I'm assuming you're here in the liquor store?
Yeah.
Okay. So Bill, Chuck, who wants to talk to us? Reed, who wants to talk about the liquor store?
I'll get us started.
Okay.
So after our meeting that we met here at the council chambers several months ago, Reed and I continued to work on our plans and moving forward on the store. Worked with Bork Lumber to finalize the plans And then Reed and I and Tarek met with Chuck to go over, him to look at our plans, and then to take it from there to start working on the bidding process. And then Chuck came back with a proposal of what the cost would be for them to reach out for the bids, to use the specifications that we've worked up, and to get the project moving forward. And that was the cost that is on your council packet for tonight.
Chuck, is this essentially putting you, Bolton and Mink, in the role of architect for this, or?
Yeah, basically, we prepare the full set of plans, architectural, structural, mechanical, civil, electrical, and basically get them, like our typical city project would flow, ready for bid. We'd advertise for bids, have a bid opening, very similar to how the shelter was just done.
Any questions for Chuck or Bill? Did we price out going with a different source to get a comparison?
We did not.
Okay.
We,
Bolton and Mink hasn't let us down yet, so
correct,
thought I'd ask.
yeah.
Thoughts by the council? I'd entertain a motion if we're ready.
Where will this money come from?
Well, it'll be part of the total financing of the package. We'll have to apply for a bond once we get the bid package together.
In the meantime, I assume out of your capital improvement.
I have CIP money available, very much so, yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve Bolton and Mink Incorporated scope of the work for the new municipal liquor store in the amount of $89,500.
There's a motion by Hersberg as stated on the action sheet. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? None? Motion carries.
I would like to thank Reed for all the work he's done. He's done a ton of work on this project, so.
More than could be expected, Reed, so thank you.
For a volunteer.
Yeah.
Gene has a bottle of wine if you want it.
No, I'm not sharing Reed. Yeah, he knows me well.
I have better stuff, Reed.
I just want to say that after talking with Chuck the other day, before us, it put my mind at ease with what he proposed. And taking care of what he's going to take care of. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you so much, and I echo what Bill said, Reed, thank you, and to the entire board for doing the work that's going to go in on this, so. It will be a good project. With that, we'll move back up to the AMPI Phase 2, the resolution to sell land, back on page 9. And Ron, do you want to bring us up to speed on this?
Okay, yes, the AMPI Phase 2, actually AMPI with the design work, they are progressing on their end of it. But with the land sale, our bonding company does require that we actually pass a resolution. Resolution just notes that we do not need the land anymore, even though the land is being utilized for the exact same purpose that we purchased it for, so. And there's also a checklist there that we also have gone through and completed, so. Chuck, do you have anything?
Yeah, this is just a sort of part of the process with MMB, being that the city receives state funds for that project. This is required through MMB to get approved. And as the council may recall, the proceeds for that sale go back to the state.
I just want to mention that because Stearns County is requiring this property to be platted, I just got this afternoon from Bolton and Mink a draft of a proposed preliminary plat, and I'm thinking I might want to add to Exhibit A to say this property is being platted and will be legally described as Lot 2 of Painesville wastewater treatment plat. I mean, I think, I hate to have to bring it back and redo it, I don't know. But I mean, the plat's not approved yet, but that's what we have that's what Chuck has worked up, and I think that's going to end up being the description. So I probably think it would make sense to add that to Exhibit A.
Do we have to wait on this whole thing until the plat goes through?
But we can't complete the sale until the plat goes through. So that's sort of the holdup. Stearns County considers this to be a minor plat. I think it might go fairly fast, but we have to get on the agenda with the township and get them to approve the preliminary plat. I don't know, when their next meeting is or what their process is. I'm sure they have to give some notice, have a hearing on a preliminary plat. So it'll take a little while.
So your suggestion is to accept or to approve the resolution with the amendment as to the legal description to say this will be legally described as Part 2?
It'll be Lot 1. Yeah, it'll be Lot 1 of Block 1 of Painesville wastewater treatment plat.
Are we running into state deadlines if we just bump this to our next council meeting to get it in its final form?
No, we just need this approval prior to the actual sale going through. And MMB has looked at it and reviewed it and is aware of what's going on, so it's not surprised.
I think my preference would be to just have it in its final form when we vote on it.
That's fine, we can just wait till the plat's approved.
Yeah, if it were time sensitive, let's do it, but I think my preference would be to just wait until it's done.
Okay.
Otherwise, something will inevitably happen where we have to change it.
No. That wouldn't happen.
Okay. Unless the council feels differently?
Nope.
Okay, then we'll move on. We'll take no action on that. Go to the trail, the temporary and perpetual construction easement for MKI Enterprise. There's one, but we also have an update here on page 3. So our original agenda has something, but we're going to be looking at our update tonight.
Yeah, this is basically a permanent and a temporary construction easement for a portion of the proposed new trail along County Road 130. There's one area towards just south of 185th where the right-of-way gets fairly close to the road. So this is basically just an easement document increasing or getting some permanent easement for the trail as well as a temporary construction that will allow it to be built, so.
Bill, it says you're going to give us a report on the revised easements. Anything else to add?
Just, when I drafted it, I just drafted the party receiving the easement as the city of Painesville, and I added Painesville Township. It's a joint project, so.
The owner of the property has agreed to the easement, so that's
Great, so we have an agreement by the owner. We're just looking at entering these, so I'd entertain a motion to approve by somebody on the council.
I'll make the motion to approve the temporary construction and perpetual pedestrian trail easements between the city of Painesville, Painesville Township, and MKI Enterprise Incorporated.
There's a motion by Thielen. Is there a fourth?
I might second it.
Okay. Is that how we do things, Bill?
Usually.
Okay. I want to make sure you feel valued tonight.
Right.
All right, so we have a second by Soini. Any further discussion by the council? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, page 25 of our agenda, the cooperative trail agreement. Ron or Chuck again?
Yes, this, the same section of trail, a very small portion of it lies within the Highway 55 right-of-way. So MnDOT requires this cooperative agreement in order for us to construct that trail within their right-of-way. Basically, it allows us, the city to construct it, city township to construct it. MnDOT will eventually actually own the trail, but the city will be responsible for maintenance of the trail as defined in the cooperative agreement. So essentially, it's just their way of allowing us to be in their right-of-way.
Questions or other discussion by the council? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Was there a comment down here? Okay, I thought I heard a sigh. Motion
It
by
was a sigh,
Soini.
no comment, though.
Usually when people are sighing at me, it's because they want me to stop talking. Motion by Soini is stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Hersberg. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay. Ron and Chuck, do you want to talk to us about safe routes to schools?
Okay, yes, we've been working on that for quite some time, and we are ready to pursue the funding for the project. And what we're looking at is a crossing at Burr Street and Highway 55, and a crossing at Veterans Drive and Business 23. Those are the RRFB, or those are wrapping flashing beacons, and they will only flash when you go up, a pedestrian pushes the button, so it's not like you have a constant flashing going across there. There's also sidewalk in front of the entire elementary school on the Mill Street side, from Washburn Avenue all the way over to Stearns. Also included is the intersections of Mill Street and Washburn, Mill and Augusta, and Mill Street and Stearns Avenue there. And then we also do have on Veterans Drive from Main Street about up to the golf course, we will install it's a reduced speed zone when flashing. So I'm not sure if it will be our officers or the school will have control of that, when to set those timers. But whenever they are flashing, the speed zone would be in effect. You see those in quite a few other school districts, and that met some high praises from the county and the school district here. So total cost of the project for the construction will be just roughly estimated at this time under $400,000. The breakdown at this time, the city's cost, or the city's project would be $173,000. Our local share of that would be about $34,000, $35,000. The school roughly $219,000, with their local share about $43,000. So, anything to add, Chuck? Or?
No, the application's due early January, I think January 17th for this, so we would probably hear back on the bid or grant application, I think, this spring.
The school is in favor of this?
This, I don't know if it's been brought up to the entire board yet, but the superintendent is aware of it, yes.
All right, I'm all on board. I will make the motion to approve Resolution 24-39, supporting the pursuit of safe routes to school funding for the Enhanced Pedestrian Connections Project. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Soini. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Carries. All right, on to the cannabis ordinance. Ron and Chuck. No? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think this one probably would be Bill's. I just thought we'd keep the pattern going with you two down there.
keep going.
So this is the business regulation part of the cannabis ordinance that we worked on. And it incorporates the zoning stuff as well, but mostly this is the business regulation part. And it kind of follows the state statute, I think, in large part. And yeah, so I don't know what, if there's particular questions about it, I could try to answer them, but we did put in a provision prohibiting use in public places. That was not a required thing, but the staff that I met with thought that that was something that would be desirable, and so we did. We did put in some distance regulations, but we didn't put in all of them that are allowed.
The distance requirements, how do those compare to the regulations that we currently have? Are they the same? Do you know?
The same as what?
Because do we have to do some distance requirements for like the THC beverages and things like that?
Yeah, and we have some for liquor too. I don't know that they're identical, though.
Yes, I think the liquor ones and the THC were the same.
Yeah. I think we maybe did a better job of describing where we were going to measure from in this one
Yes.
than in the earlier ones, but other than that, I think they're basically the same.
Bill, I have not had the chance to compare and contrast this against what the county just passed. Chance to do that? Do you know how they differ?
I really didn't spend any time looking at what the county did, to be honest with you. I looked at it early on, but it seemed like they completely redid it from when they started to when they ended up.
All right, any questions for Bill about the cannabis ordinance? Any discussion by the council? I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve ordinance number 56, third series, and official summary of ordinance 56, third series.
We have a motion by Soini, as stated on the action sheet, approving the ordinance and the summary of that. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion? Hearing.
I'll
Go ahead,
just
Paul.
reiterate, I think we should have some restriction with the recovery center. I mean, we've got distances for the school, we got distances for daycare. I think personally it would be prudent to put something into the recovery center.
I get it. I know we've discussed this when we did the zoning. And I think Megan and I stated at that point that, you know, we're not going to do the same thing for bars and things like that. So
I don't, I just,
no, I get it. I hear where you're coming from, but I also think the other thing that I've been stewing on lately is that if it were a requirement that it not be within a certain space, I mean, it takes a lot to move a school. It doesn't take as much to move like a recovery program or something like that. So if that were to pop up, then we'd run into is this a pre-existing use? I just see a lot of, I get it, I sympathize with it, but I'm not sold on it.
I know,
I know.
just wanted my,
Yep.
I wanted to know my position.
Yeah,
Is it on
fine.
the record?
Well, it can also be on the record that I listened to him. You know it's been one of those days for both of us, Paul. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries. All right. ESST policy. Jen, I'm guessing you want this one.
Well, not particularly, but if you recall back about a year ago, this was brought up that effective January of 2024, the legislation enacted ESST. And so at that time, the council adopted a policy where employees would earn 1 hour for every 30 hours worked. And for those full-time people, the first 48 hours of your PTO was automatically your ESST. Well, we probably were not the only entity to do that, because since then, legislation has come back and says they don't want that to happen anymore. So they're kind of giving us two options, and neither of them are great. We can leave ESST within our PTO. However, if we do that, all the PTO hours take on all the attributes and flexibility of ESST. So for a person that might carry 200 hours of PTO, it would be extremely hard or absolutely impossible for the city to deny them. They could simply say, I'm using the ESST. So that might become a problem at the liquor store. It could become a problem with the police department.
It could become a problem for Ron plowing snow, it could become a problem with the DMV services. The other alternative is that the city would allow employees to earn 1 hour for every 30 hours, up to 48 hours annually, and keep that separate from their PTO. So they would have two banks, ESST and PTO. So if you called in, for whatever reason it may be, you have to tell your supervisor, are you using PTO or ESST? If it's ESST, we probably cannot deny it. If it's PTO, the department head or manager could say, we don't have enough staff on, you need to report. So that brings us to tonight. However the council decides is going to affect the policy that we have on our books, which in a few days is going to be live.
In a week. That's exactly what we discussed in policies and procedures.
So yeah, policies and procedures did review this. They got the current policy that you have in the packet in front of you. There's also an email from our labor attorney outlining their suggestions, outlining the law. So it's ultimately, the policies and procedures did recommend breaking out ESST from the PTO bank. It's not going to be front-loaded, and the max accrual is 80 hours, and there will be no payout of ESST. The parameters for ESST still stand for illness, taking care of a loved one, some bereavement leave, also in those instances of being stalked or abusive cases, those types of things. But if you think you're going to, go to the Bahamas on ESST, that's not going to work.
I think it seems pretty clear to me that option 2 is probably the better option for the city's perspective. But I am wondering if we shouldn't consider front-loading some time, not all of it, but maybe 10 or 15 hours of ESST. And I'm just thinking, city employees who are full-time can use PTO if they don't have ESST. But if we hire somebody at the liquor store who gets sick or has a child emergency, and I realize PTO doesn't automatically front-load either, but I'm just thinking those who are most likely to need it, you don't plan for emergencies. So would it make sense to have a small cushion there in case something happens?
I would advise against that, just because if we're front-loading, we end up paying it out. And I don't know if we can only front-load portions of it. I think I haven't seen it front-loaded as a portion. It's, you're front-loading 80 hours. And people can turn around and they want to cash it out. I would not advise that. I think it's, the people that we have on staff now in the part-time positions have all earned some ESST. But you got to think about, 2 years ago, they didn't have anything. So it is a benefit to them. And our full-time people are already accruing PTO. So if they didn't have enough ESST to cover the event that happened, they could use their PTO.
Can the ESST carry over?
It can, but it's only up to 80 hours.
I think we should go with option 2 and just amend it as needed down the road.
Okay.
Are we allowing carryover? I don't think that was discussed.
No, I think.
So ESST can be carried over from year to year up to 80 hours, period. That's it. That's the law.
Right, but do we have to allow that?
I believe you do.
Oh,
And it's not just us, it's every business.
well, I know, I don't like the whole program, but
No, this is not
there's a lot of
ideal.
things our state government does that I don't like, so that's fine.
Yeah, this is not ideal. And again, this is coming from our legislators. So if you have legislative day, this would be one thing you might want to go and bring up on how it affects, the business world. But again, this was brought into, law because of our hospitality world that they were trying to protect. And now it's for every business, every entity.
Yeah, I mean, Jen, we were discussing this just last week. It's like, with the way the city runs, it's not going to affect us. We would give people time off for stuff like this if they needed it. But there are a few bad apple employers out there who wouldn't, and those few bad apples have spoiled the whole bunch.
Well, that's how laws become into effect. As soon as somebody breaks it enough times, it becomes a new law.
All right. Well,
Motion to approve with option 2.
motion by Soini to go with option 2 on the action sheet, which is the full 48 hours for E ESST above and beyond PTO. Hold on. Instead of giving an additional 48 hours of E ESST, wouldn't it be giving an additional 80?
No, because we're not front-loading it.
Right.
So you're earning 1 hour for every,
Are we already earning 32? How do we get to 80 if this is 48?
the law says you can front-load 80 hours, period. But if you accrue it, it's 1 hour for every 30 hours worked, up to 48 hours.
Okay, so we're actually going up to 48, not 80.
Correct.
The carryover.
You can you can max out at 80.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, motions by Soini to go with option 2, which is accrual of 48 hours per year, maximum accrual of 80 in a carryover year. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Definitely, I'll second.
Right. I heard it from Neil first. Sorry, Paul.
No problem.
Correct. All right, any further discussion? Again, this is one of those things where we're just gonna take what the legislature tells us to do and roll with it. So all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carries. All right, fire department officer appointments and wages. Gentlemen. Somebody want to talk to us, or should I read off my sheet?
We had a training officer and lieutenant retired, so we appointed a new, or he resigned. We have a new lieutenant and a new training officer. We decided to go with 2 training officers so that this doesn't happen again in the future.
We kind of wanted a second staff member to facilitate some of that work. It's a lot for one person, going back over years. And we established that we needed a second person to help facilitate some of the required trainings.
We appointed Mike Chuck as the lieutenant, Brad Meloff as first training officer, and Dominic Plato as his second.
And the request is for November 1st. I'm assuming that's when the gentleman started working in those roles.
Yes.
Correct.
Resignation was in October, right?
Yeah,
September.
we were-
Okay, so they stepped up pretty quick.
Yes.
Yeah, we did have a small lull period where we didn't have anybody and we were kind of filling that role. And I will tell you, Mike and myself have both worked as training officer, and that's where we really realized that you need a couple to fill that positions.
Are they doing it sort of on equal parts, or what's the sense in paying one half of the other one?
Brad is taking care of setting all the trainings up, making sure everything gets taken care of, all the paperwork and all that, and Dom's gonna help. It's not equal. Dom's gonna be to help with the trainings on training nights.
It's almost like a deputy officer, or like,
Yes, yep.
So now, these are the current rates that we've been paying.
Yes.
The only additional will be the $750.
Yep, yep,
And that was the annual year.
yes.
Well, with that, I'll make the motion to appoint Mike Jump as lieutenant at $500 per year, Brad Melhoff, training officer at $1,500 per year, Dominic Pletko, second training officer, $750 per year, effective November 1st, 2024, and I see where it says wages prorated, and I would recommend it'd be for November, December, it'd be 2/3 of that amount prorate, and that would be my motion.
Almost 1/6, right? Because these are annual.
They're quarterly,
I get paid quarterly, but
so it'll be
Oh,
2
wait,
months a quarter.
That's per year, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I was thinking per quarter.
So the motion is as stated on the action sheet with the amounts to be paid out at 1/6 of that amount for 2024, because that would be the 2 months of work done. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Seconded by Soini. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Jen, do you know if we need more on the prorating and the pay to make that clearer?
No, I think we'll just work with the treasurer a little bit on that to make sure that the hours that are coming back are prorated.
If you can email Jess on that, that'd be great.
thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
All right. And we have a library grant from the Department of Education. I have been tasked on giving a verbal report. I don't have much to give other than what's in here. Tarek has started working on this. I know that the library has provided some information to him, which I think has been incorporated herein. All of this is about applying to try and get the money to construct and build the new library. I apologize that I don't have better information, but I think an appropriate motion would be to just authorize everyone to sign the grant application once it's been approved by Great River and meets their requirements.
This would be one of
Yeah,
many grants to get the thing off the ground.
Yep.
So
the 300,000 one though.
I'm definitely in favor of it, and I'll make the motion to proceed.
Motion by Hersberg to proceed and approve signing once everything's been approved by Great River. Is there a second? Seconded by Soini. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? None. Motion carries. All right. Do we want to keep our labor attorney for next year?
How do these rates compare with our new attorney? Because I believe they did offer those services.
Well, we'd have to pay,
I think they're $10 an hour more expensive. Just off of memory.
I think, I mean, I can't remember the menu of things that were at, Kennedy and Graven had, it seemed like they had a menu of things that were $225 and a menu of things that were $250, and I don't know where labor falls.
And we are currently happy with,
that's what I've heard.
because if we're happy in $10, I would say, let's stay. Because you never know, just because they offer it, we don't know if we'd be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I've had over the years a few interactions with Susan, the labor attorney, and I think that she's great to work with. She's quick to respond. She knows the answers. And I've got no problems. From an HR standpoint, do you have any concerns?
No, and actually, she just put on a seminar for the League of Minnesota Cities on HR stuff, so she works with the league, and I would like to see how Kennedy and Graven work out with all the other stuff before we jump into the other baskets that they offer.
I say we keep working with them.
Sounds like a plan.
Does that sound like a motion, Gene?
Sure.
A motion by Soini to renew our contract. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Hersberg. Any further discussion? I just want to find the pricing since we were talking about it.
Oh, with the other one?
Yeah. looks like they would just charge their standard $205. They don't charge, this one doesn't have an extra charge for HR. So, it'd be $205 an hour
With Kennedy Graven.
with Kennedy Graven, so $20 an hour cheaper, but I don't know that we use them a ton throughout the year unless something comes up, so,
We only use them if we need them.
yeah. I don't think it would be a giant cost savings. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Motion carries. Okay, we have some meeting schedules on our agenda. Take a look at those. Liquor store report, page 101. Notice that we have a Stearns County Municipal League meeting. So Donna, mark your calendar if you want to go, January 21st at 6:30 in Albany. And we'll do that.
I know somebody else has to be treasurer.
Donna can be treasurer.
I don't think she wants it. Stearns County Municipal League.
That's all we've got, but before we break, we can't leave the room without recognizing that this room's going to look a lot different the next time we all see each other. Gene's been here since '97. Bill's been here for a heck of a long time. I'm sorry I couldn't figure out exactly what year. But I have come to rely deeply on both of you. You're always just a phone call away, whether it's to talk about strategy, Gene, on a political discussion or how we're going to handle a sensitive topic, or Bill, whether it's calling you to figure out how we stay out of hot water. The two of you are critical to the functioning of the city. Life will go on because it has to go on without the two of you here, but I'm not going to enjoy it. At least not for a while. We have a little reception for both of you, but know that that is literally the least we could do as a thank you to both of you for all of your years of service, for keeping us out of hot water, for sometimes getting us into hot water. The dedication of both of you to the city is unmatched. Bill, I know what you charge us, and it's not nearly enough for what you do. So really, I think what you've done is a public service for us, and I'm very grateful for that. I hope you enjoy your retirement. I hope you enjoy your time in Texas and get some time with your family.
I plan to, thank you.
Thank you. Gene, you're not really going anywhere,
No,
but thank you.
still on committees.
You're still going to be on committees, you're still going to be around, but your voice is going to be different, and we're going to miss it here. Your years of knowledge and the institutional wisdom, we're going to miss that. So thank you to both of you for your time. If anybody else wants to say anything, you can. I know we weren't planning it, but there it is. So there are gifts for both of you. Please enjoy them. Profits were poured back into our community for them, so.
I could just say something about Jean, is that when I first came on board, there was times I was rather clueless, but through just notes passing and stuff, she's been quite a coach.
Thanks.
Gene was
Got
also,
some big shoes to fill.
Gene was also instrumental in getting me to run, so you can blame her.
I'll say on behalf of the Painesville Fire Department, both Bill and Gene have done an enormous amount for us and will definitely be missed. Look forward to working with all the council that's still here as well as the new council.
I'm a little partial though. I'm a little biased there.
What she's told me is she prefers the current fire chief to the predecessor.
I believe that.
I've known him a long time too.
All right. Thank you, folks. With that, like I said, we have refreshments. There's some hot apple cider and there's cookies and cupcakes that Donna brought us over from Teal's, so please enjoy. And, but otherwise for business, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.